drippy, I'm fitted up. Hop in my car and a giddy up. Secure the bag, yeah, I get the bus.
Welcome to Beats Per Minute, everyone's favorite DJ game show of competitive debates. Here's the rules.
You're going to get schooled like in gym class.
You got notes. You're cheating.
I'm not.
Mickey's going to spin the golden wheel of death. He's going to pull out a topic for us to debate.
That John wrote, by the way.
Rich and I both get 1 minute, hence the name Beats Per Minute.
It should be John's questions.
John's questions.
Yeah, here we go. Sorry.
We each get 1 minute to debate the topic. And then as we say things that our panel, Chrisom and Mickey, think is smart, they're going to give us points for that. At the end of this, Mickey will post-production figure out how many points we had, and next week we'll figure out where we're at with the standings.
At John's questions.
On the questions that I wrote. All right.
Here we go.
Here we go. Rich is going to be first, since he's got to get his question written down. Mickey, spin the wheel and give me a question. You got 1 minute on the clock.
All right. Here we go. More important skill for a special event DJ to improve: MC talent or advanced mixing techniques?
So a more important skill for a DJ to focus on, MC skill or beat mixing techniques.
Go.
All right. Yes. I'm going to throw my vote in the hat for MC skill, and here's why. You are all about playing a soundtrack for someone's event. And whether you're fading up and down, you should be able to mix and blend songs, but I don't think that beat matching is very imperative to holding a successful event. If you are a poor public speaker, in my opinion, you're going to lose people's interest right off the bat. You're mumbling, you're stumbling your words. Chrisom talked about organization. You're very disorganized. So if you command the microphone in a way that gives you some substance and a little preview about what the event is going to be like, that is more important than being able to beat match.
All right. So, of course, you're right. For a starting DJ, it's more important to practice mic skills. It's what people are going to notice. It's what's going to make the event go smoothly. It's more noticeable. And frankly, most of the advanced mixing techniques that we do are probably only most noticeable by a DJ anyway. I get it. Right. But some food for thought. If you want to be an elite DJ, if you want to separate yourself from the gaggle of all the other DJs, that's when practicing advanced mixing techniques is going to be the most important. Because I would say there's a much smaller pool of DJs in any given market who are really artists when it comes to mixing music. And you will stand out. I mean, people will talk about that. So while I think on average, yes, a starting DJ, the more noticeable thing to most clients and to people you're trying to impress is your mic skills. If you want to stand out from the rest of that, because a lot of people are going to learn that skill first, if you want to stand out, that's when the advanced mixing techniques are going to matter.
Definitely. And really, public speaking starts at the initial presentation, too. I mean, you haven't even played a beat of music. If your public speaking sucks, I mean, that might be giving you away some sales, right? I mean, and then when you get to the event, you've seen some recordings where people are just bouncing off guardrails when they're beat matching. I mean, that's just something you really need to pay attention to.
It's how you're going to separate. It may not be the first thing, but it's how you're going to separate.
Yeah.
What do you think, panel?
I agree. I agree with both of you guys. I think, public speaking is huge, and you need to know what you're doing.
And you've seen both.
Yeah.
Like the mousy. Hey, everybody, welcome to Chrisom and Dan's wedding.
Can you do the wiki you're about to do?
Wiki.
Very good. Can you tell, all right, before we move on, and we'll get to another question quick, but can you tell the difference when you're working with a DJ, someone who is an artist at mixing music versus someone who is not? Is that noticeable? Like the guy who fades in and fades out versus someone who is really, someone who is really, blending music well.
Absolutely. Only because we do 40 to 60 events a year. So I hear it all the time. So I agree with both of you guys. Like, yes, that's very important because it really sounds amazing when you know what you're doing.
What's your observation of the guests? Because a lot of times the DJ will not be able to see every single reaction.
Yep.
Can you give us a little insight of your observation of the guests when they hear both a beat-matched performance versus a guard? You know what I mean by guardrail, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So guests, they don't notice.
It's good insight.
If it's too much remix, like if September is just with a lot of, weirdness.
Yeah.
If their favorite song sounds like an EDM track.
Of course.
I get it. Like, wait, I thought I knew the song. What happened?
Right.
I'm with you. It's a good observation. Yeah. Don't do too much. All right. Good topic. Good question. I think it was fairly even on that one. I didn't write anything down. All right, Mickey, spin the golden wheel.
Johnny, you're going first.
I'm ready.
Here we go.
Most important person to befriend for the success of your wedding event? Bride's parents, maid of honor, or best man?
Wow, it's a great question.
That's a good one.
All right, so they're all important. And so there's a lot of questions like this we're going to handle in BPM segments where it's like pick the most important thing, and all three are important, so it's just levels. I'm going to tell you that the answer here for me is maid of honor. Generally speaking, they are the wedding planning assistant for the bride, right? So if I need something, and generally I've seen until it gets late, they're probably the ones that are holding the keys to this, right? If I need the bride somewhere or I need to get the bridal party somewhere, they're de facto in charge. They were in charge of the bachelorette party. They're now in charge of the beginning part of the wedding. So to me, I immediately want to figure out who that is and become friends with them, because the first part of my job, the organization, getting them together for a huddle before introductions or figuring out how the best way to get a bride where I needed to be when I needed to be somewhere, it's going to come from the maid of honor. Go ahead and be wrong now.
You know what? Great points about the maid of honor. I'm gonna default and go with the parents, and here's a couple reasons. So if you're talking about organization, right, you've got to make sure that you're befriending the maid of honor, not the best man. Why?
He's a mess.
Sorry, guys. Ladies are more organized.
Doesn't matter.
They're more reputable. But the parents, this may be their last or only son or daughter getting married, and you've got this is their night too. So you've got to make sure that they're just a part of it. I mean, you know, we're talking about tips, we're talking about an overall enjoyment, we're talking about after the fact. If you got happy parents, your life is going to be a lot easier when it comes to success of the event. So
now, if the question had read, just to add on, if the question had read,
I have notes to write down, but you're throwing your underwear out.
If the question had read, who's the most important person in your life? If you're planning on getting gratuity, it's the parents of the bride, right? That's how the question read.
Funny, John disagrees when I want to take notes. So when I don't take notes, he bashes me for not taking notes.
Chrisom, what do you think? Who's the most important person out of those three to you? As a photographer, who'd be the most important to you out of those three?
Yeah, so definitely the maid of honor. I mean, the guys, they don't know anything. They don't even know what time they're supposed to be getting dressed.
Agreed.
So, maid of honor, it is all the way, hands down. So the parents, I agree, you want to, you know, pamper them and get to know them and be near them. As a photographer, for sure, I'm constantly getting pictures of them and stuff like that, but I don't take direction from them, because a lot of times the like soon-to-be mother of the bride, or whatever that is, like what is that called?
The in-law?
Yeah, the in-law.
Yeah.
They want something that the bride doesn't want, and the bride's like, do not talk to her, do not get information from her. I mean, it happens all the time. So there's like bridezillas, there's like mother of the bridezillas.
Of course.
Too, like
Yeah.
So I don't take any direction from that.
So what I'm gathering, if I can summarize, is that I was right.
Well, you're right, because you got to answer the question first.
I know.
Yeah, so that
And
works.
that's why.
For
And
sure.
I wrote the question.
Yeah, and you wrote the question. So.
And usually that helps.
Yeah.
All right, round 3. Fight. Mickey,
Finish him.
Spin that wheel, bro.
Get over here.
Look at Mickey. Look at Mickey spinning. It's the best part of my freaking day.
Oh, man.
They spinning, they spinning, they spinning. Oh.
Here we go. Mickey's
Here's a good
happy.
one. All right. The personal downfall of a music artist, i.e. Michael Jackson, R. Kelly, etc., should impact the use of their music at events. Do you agree or disagree?
Ooh.
That is good one.
That's a good
nice
one.
job. So the personal downfall of the artist should impact whether or not you play their yeah.
There we go.
Absolutely. I mean, Michael Jackson. I love Michael Jackson, but when all that went down with the kids and stuff like that, allegedly or not, we can't play Michael Jackson at school events. I don't do school events anymore, but there was a fundraiser for this local nonprofit organization that advocates for kids, and we can't play MJ at that event. I mean,
Yeah, I found that out the hard way, by the way.
Oh, my goodness. I mean, it goes on. Chris Brown, R. Kelly, whatever, man. You've got to follow the popular trend as far as that's concerned. That is disaster written all over it.
I'm going to agree to a degree, right? So, of course, those things are true. I think it's a matter of timeliness, right? You have to avoid those things when they're fresh. Now, look, I think when we get to a certain point, when the Michael thing was a big deal in the news. Yeah, you can't break that out right then. It's fresh in people's minds. But now I think we're at the point where I can play Don't Stop Till You Get Enough, and no one's going to come up to me and call me an advocate for child abuse, right? I think we're there now. I think at some point in the not too distant future, I'll be able to play Ignition the remix and not have somebody come up to me and say, bro, what are you doing? Are you crazy? I think it's a matter of when it happens, the timeliness, and being respectful of giving that little space. But eventually the classics from those artists will be separate. The piece of music itself will separate itself from the controversy with enough time.
But Michael Jackson died June of 2009.
Sure.
Right? 2009. And that event that you're talking about happened about less than a year ago.
It is. But I guess when I say I agree to a degree, it's the timeliness. So also not just the timeliness of how far away since that's been a fresh story, but also know where you're at.
Yeah.
Like I'll cop to that. This was a fundraiser for an event who advocates for an organization who advocates for children.
Yeah, of course.
And in the kind of cocktail mix set I played was The Way You Make Me Feel by Michael Jackson, which is a classic cocktail hour song. Everybody loves that. I didn't even think about it. My mind wasn't that. And I had a member of the organization say, hey, yeah, maybe no more Michael Jackson. And it took me 2 beats, and I'm like, oh,
no.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
So and they weren't upset. They were just like, we think we love this song, but it may not be it. But so again, timeliness.
Good
the
point.
right place, right time. But I think now we can play.
Of course.
I Want You Back by the Jackson 5,
Right.
and no one's
going to be pissed off at the wedding.
Chrisom, you have any thoughts about controversial artists and their music?
No, I think you guys nailed it pretty good. I mean, I think over time you can play them again, but in the beginning of it, absolutely not. You can't play this song.
Dude, when R. Kelly's documentary was fresh last year, if you played
absolutely.
Ignition,
Yeah.
that'd be problems.
Yeah.
That was everywhere.
Yeah. There's one thing you don't want to lose on the dance floor are the females filling it.
All right, so
Jeez, right?
as we're filming this episode,
Yeah.
I do not have updated tallies of our score of beats per minute, but I'm sure right about now, ding, Mickey in post-production will be posting our overall score for the month
Stay
of
tuned.
BPM.
Next
Stay
week.
tuned for that.
Next
and
week.
By next week,
And
we should have some
more
updated
questions
scores.
that John wants to inject into
Well, feel free to write some.
Yeah,
That can help out. All right. That was another segment of your favorite DJ
Love it.
competitive
Love it.
banter game show, Beats
Chrisom.
Per Minute.
All right, very cool. So this is a really, really super fun part of this segment called Setup Wars, as you saw. Chrisom, thank you for being an awesome panelist for that. I
Absolutely.
appreciate it. It was some really good insight as far as what they're not telling you.
What they're not telling you.
Very good.
Hey, you just caught a segment of Beats Per Minute, the game show of competitive DJ debate. If you want to see the episode of The Real DJ Show that this came from in its entirety, make sure you check out the link in the description. Of course, we want to know what you think, so blow up the comment section below and join the debate. If you have suggestions for content or want to join us next time, email us at TheRealDJShow@rochesterdj.com. Of course, we always want you along, so make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel, and ring the little bell for all of our new content. Hey, we'll see you next time.